So this is a presentation on how AP Calculus is connected to AP Environmental Sciences. So AP Environmental Sciences is science that involves how humans affect the environment and what our actions do and how they relate to other species and ecosystems. And it's not really a science that is math based like physics is, but there are still connections to calculus in different ways that you might not think of. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the carrying capacity. And the carrying capacity is the limit at which species can exist while sustaining enough food, water for all members of the population. And if species exceed the carrying capacity, then they will experience a die-off, which is why you notice the curve around the carrying capacity. The number of individuals goes slightly over the carrying capacity, but then has a die-off, then goes back over and dies off again. So this is a calculus concept because we can use differentiable equations to solve the carrying capacity of a equation, and it is modeled by dp over dt equals kp, which equals 1 minus p over m, with m being the carrying capacity. Or you can look at the equation m over 1 plus a to the e to the negative kt power, where a is not equal to p. So an example, that would be 1,000 over 20 plus ae to the negative 0.5t. So using the carrying capacity, you can find different things and such. And in apes, you would the carrying capacity is shown in an S-shaped growth curve, and it's involved with K-selected species such as any mammal besides the human and just mammals. And then the ecological footprint, which is how humans use resources. The next thing is exponential growth. And exponential growth is how humans are defined. Exponential growth is also how our selected species are defined as well. And those species include like bacteria and rabbits, as seen in the picture. And these species do not have a limit. They go off into infinity and they will not stop. In calculus, this is defined as dp over dt equals kp, or p to 0 e kt to the kt power. And it is also used in continuously compounded interest, which is a pre-calculus subject. In apes, there's a K-shaped growth curve, and our selected species, and human population. Lastly, we want to look at related rates. Now, this one's a tough one because related rates really is such a broad topic. There's related rates amongst conical structures, spherical, cylindrical. So there's different variations for it. And this one's really kind of tough to put into perspective when looking at apes. But you can take an ape's sort of idea and put it into a related rate. So in calculus, you would see things like ladders sliding away from the wall, two objects moving away from each other, a balloon being inflated, the length of a shadow, conical representation, plane flying at a specific angle, circular object growing, and much more. And in calculus, this is what you can use related rates for. In apes, it can be the same thing too, because related rates is pretty much universal, so it takes on many different characteristics. So in apes, you could look at changes within a closed system like the Earth. You know how the law of no matter can leave or join in a closed system. That's what related rates are for. Related rates can show the changes in that. Determining sustainability. So say you have pollution in an area and you want to see how you can try to make the area sustainable. Well, you can use a related rate to determine if the pollution is going to spread to a specific area in a specific amount of time. Growth of organisms in a specific area or a decline. So if you have an algal bloom in a pond, then you can determine the rate of its growth using a related rate. Finally, migratory patterns. If one species go one way and another species go another way, you can determine the length of distance that's going between the species using related rate. So all in all, calculus does have many connections to AP Environmental Sciences, and it's important to know these so that you can determine how you're going to affect the environment.